There's a seemingly infinite number of seeds for you to play in Minecraft. When you combine that with the fact that there are millions of people playing them, you have an infinite number of stories. Most of those have been lost to time, until now. These are their stories, and today's is the not-so-great Quake. Weather phenomena are nothing new to Minecraft. You've seen snow, rain, even lightning, but have you ever seen an earthquake in vanilla Minecraft? You've certainly seen the remnants before if you've ever taken advantage of a gaping ravine in the game, especially when there's no river or lava at the bottom capable of causing it. Speedrunners owe these very earthquakes for one of the fastest seeds ever found, and that is the story we're going to look at today. So, I've just spawned into the seed that Bedrock players use for the set seed speedrun. Now, I found this seed courtesy of IBX Toy Cat's video, "This Seed Lets You Beat Minecraft in 5 Minutes." Absolutely check it out if you haven't already. And if you do want to check out this legend for yourself, the seed is 376166226. For speedrunners, this seed is the greatest thing ever, due in large part to the remnants of an earthquake that we'll see in just a moment. The thing about speedrunners like Toy Cat, though, is that they're like the builders who will flatten a mountain and put up a mini-mall. See, I'm more like an archaeologist. What speedrunners call a great quake is actually a very sad series of events. Actually, disclaimer, I don't know that speedrunners actually call it that, but it certainly seems like a fortunate earthquake. Now, you'll notice that we spawned right next to a village, which is not a rare feat by any means. However, what is rare is that this village has been abandoned. But why? This is something the hundreds of runners who frequent this seed have never asked. On the surface, the village seems to be thriving. Plenty of food, several homes. This seems like a tremendous place for a villager to live, minus the gaping chasm that seems to have ripped directly through the middle of town. But which came first, the village or the quake? Perhaps the resources exposed by the disaster made it possible for this place to thrive so much. Again, it seems like a great event. Plenty of resources, relatively easy to get to. What's the big deal? As fate would have it, the villagers on the top side would end up having to send their own down into the ravine to mine the supplies. A quick look into the ravine shows that the remnants of the earthquake were also housing a stronghold. Now you're probably thinking, big deal, right? Strongholds, they're under villages all the time. True, but it's rare that they're exposed. You've probably been in dozens of strongholds in your time in Minecraft, but did you ever stop to wonder why they're there? Who made them? Why would they insist on living underground? Obviously, the answer can vary from village to village. In our case, it was a society of miners. That's with an ER, not talking about kids. They started as typical villagers who, after spending long amounts of time underground, found a common obsession with the End Dragon and legends of a means to summon it to the overworld. The stronghold in the cave was never really questioned because the efforts were a windfall for the village. The normal-seeming villagers who had established camp would bring back supplies. In exchange, they got books, maps, typical materials that made mining easier, the time in the ravine a lot less boring. As we take a look around what is pretty much your typical underground base, the main feature, we don't see this too often in exploring underground bases. We see it in strongholds a lot. That would be an end portal. The thing about these villagers living in the stronghold is that their time underground blurred the distinction between fact and fiction. The miners that stayed underground became obsessed with the legend of the End Dragon and what it would mean for their lot in life living underground if they actually got to bring it to the overworld. The society realized that they need to visit the nether if they ever want to get the resources to summon the dragon. Fortunately, as they were rarely visited by the topsiders, they'd been able to hoard a significant stash of supplies that were essential to their progress. So when the time came in to jump in the portal, they were ready, but they had no idea what was waiting for them when they did. Before we venture into the nether, I want to take a second to tell you, if you like this story, remember, you can like, subscribe. As always, let me know with a comment down below. I can keep content like this coming if they are the kinds of things you like. Now, most nethers, on a good day, will drop you out into a lava-filled hellscape. There may be some piglins to barter with, maybe some endermen, but the only word to describe this nether is cursed. As soon as you leave the portal, you find not just a fortress, complete with enemies ready to light you on fire, but a bastion, complete with brutes, ready to literally chop you into bits. No creature from the overworld is going to be able to survive finding one of these structures. Now imagine finding both. And it begs the question, were the Blaze and Piglins at war? Were they training each other? Were they, like the Topsiders and the folks in the Stronghold helping each other along? It's hard to decide which of those things would be worse. We're going to take a quick look around here to show that not only is the bastion right next to the portal, but their treasure is essentially wide out in the open. Once again, this is something that's a boon to speedrunners since it can make mining and trading with piglins quite easy. So how did this horrific nether, or again good if you're a speedrunner, lead to our ghost village from earlier? Well, remember the trade relationship between the stronghold and the village. The inhabitants of the stronghold believed if they could get the gold from the bastion, they'd have enough wealth to take over the village. They wouldn't have to summon the end dragon, they wouldn't have to destroy the world, they could just buy people out in the village. It wouldn't be the first time, right, that the thought of money had corrupted someone. Fortunately, their experience building the mines and having to traverse up and down to get back to the topside made them adept at building. After crafting a careful plan, they were able to steal the gold and successfully smuggle it back to the overworld. They'd counted on the brutes, being dopey by nature, to blame the blazes and withers of the fortress, but what they didn't count on was being followed. By the time the keepers of the bastion arrived, the gold had already been smelted and traded up to the villagers on the mainland. The brutes brought chaos to the stronghold, and eventually the village, not letting the town rest until all of their gold was reclaimed. Having taken back the gold, the brutes retreated. They left one poor soul behind, of course, to cover their tracks. That's where things remain to this day. Sure, it works great for speedrunners looking for easy resources to fly through Minecraft. That speaks nothing, though, of the legend this seed left behind. So remember, when a seed seems too good to be true, it probably is. What do you think? Have you found things in your seeds that you know have to have an explanation, but you don't know what that explanation is? Let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll check it out for myself. I'm YoBGS, reminding you that there's a seemingly infinite number of seeds in Minecraft. There are an equally infinite number of stories associated with them, and this has been one of those stories. Take care, my friends. I will see you for the Salty Runback.